Are you looking it up still?
Yeah.
Oh. In Villaview notes. I can't believe your notes are stored on that laptop. It's in the folder for each season. It's completely unnecessary.
It's not unnecessary.
It's necessary to keep them.
Hey, John Motson kept all his notes. What?
John Motson kept them? Okay.
He has a big binders. If you could go out with one Villa player for New Year's Eve night, who would it be?
I don't know. Who'd you?
Alan Hutton.
Alan Hutton?
Yeah, I think he'd be lively.
I mean, most of our local rivals, when they get anything against us, they seem to celebrate it like a win, which is not how I like to operate. It's quite a small time. But
sure, but
each to their own. Just a little prank there.
No.
Prank Sinatra.
Didn't see that.
No? Okay.
And somebody came up to Dan. I was like, oh, I love what you do with the Villa View. It's so good. Love the podcast. Love the podcast. I am literally half of the podcast. And Dan's like, oh, yeah, there's Tom as well. He's like, who?
Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast with myself, Dan Bardell, in possibly the best shirt that's ever been worn in the booth, and Tom Julian, probably feeling a little bit inferior in that shirt next to me.
Always feeling a little bit inferior next to you.
No, don't be so hard on yourself.
But do you know what? I really like this shirt. The fact that it's just a bit too big, but that is a lovely top.
I was bragging about the shirt before you came on text, wasn't I? But I've realised the best thing about it is that it's got Carboni 18 on the back, but you cannot see that.
No.
Tom Julian carrying an injury. As well into the podcast.
I didn't think you'd bring this up.
No,
I woke up on Sunday morning, and maybe I'd gone into some sort of rage during the night.
No, it wouldn't be surprising, to be honest.
More on that later.
Shortly.
And my eye had kind of like exploded. A blood something in my eye.
Show the camera.
I'm not sure is it that eye?
Yeah, I think so.
This is the worst.
Basically, Tom's got a big red dot on his eye.
Yeah, I got big blood kind of burst in my eye, and it hasn't gone yet.
Can you see?
Yeah,
well,
obviously.
That's fine.
It's not the. It's not the
not affecting your vision.
No, because it's not. It's not the white of my eye, isn't it?
But it's in your eye.
Yeah, but that's not where you see.
This is a terrible start.
Did you do human biology or anything?
I wasn't very good at science and things like that. To be honest, it's cool.
I actually fainted. We cut up an eye, and I fainted when we cut it up. It was grim.
I mean, that doesn't sound very nice, and I don't recall doing that at school, but that doesn't matter. Tell you, he didn't use his eyes.
Very nice.
Saturday, Kevin Friend.
Not
a friend of ours.
You stole my line. I gave you that, didn't I?
Yeah.
What a terrible decision. I'm gonna throw my rule out of going in chronological order through the game.
It's got to go.
It's got to go. This was obscene.
Yeah, and I'm gonna throw away that I'm not gonna get onto Premier League referees' backs this season, because this guy's no Premier League referee in my opinion, and shouldn't be a Premier League referee next time the games roll round. Obviously now we're in the Premier League. I've said I'll give the Premier League refs a chance, haven't I? Because I've said they're streets ahead of the Championship officials.
If you haven't seen the game at this point and have avoided all social media...
Very unlikely for the listeners of this podcast.
Very unlikely. 96th minute, Villa 1-0 down. Grealish dances his way into the box. I mean, clipped by Zaha, brought down by Cahill, knocks it to Lansbury. Lansbury scores. Friend blows the whistle before the ball is struck by Lansbury.
Inexplicably.
Therefore... it can't be reviewed by VAR, and
I thought it was reviewed by VAR.
It was like
Chris Kamara said it was. Not that he's the best source of information.
I think it's like there's a difference between review and check. There's two different things, but it basically couldn't be called back by VAR.
This is where you really come into your own.
I was actually looking up the rules
this kind
on my
of thing.
phone.
This is where you've got to be spot on tonight, because you should be a walking referee encyclopedia.
I think the difficult thing is that nobody's bang on because it's still so new, and there's a lot of kind of there's a lot of up in the airs about this decision, because there's so many factors to what Friend has done that there's several points where it can fall down. I think the first one is Zaha clips Grealish. Grealish doesn't go down. Grealish is stumbling, but makes contact with Cahill. I think that's fairly obvious to anybody that isn't willing to just not believe a single shot frame. At that point, Grealish goes down, and that's when Friend makes his decision. Now, a good referee, in my opinion,
not Kevin Friend then,
not Kevin Friend, would let the game go on. But here's the confusing bit, I guess. Kevin Friend has already decided that Grealish is diving, and therefore the advantage is to Villa. Therefore, he has no reason to let the play continue, because he thinks that Grealish has committed a foul or a simulation, whatever you like to call it. That's why he's kind of called it back, booked him. He doesn't need to let the play go on, because he thinks if his decision is right, then then blowing the whistle at that point is fine. The problem is that if he let it go and Lansbury scores, then the whole thing, I think,
can be then looked at.
Yeah, but then the VAR view or check or whichever one it was said that there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it anyway. And I think that's where the problem lies, that people think that VAR is just this magic robot that sorts everything. VAR is just more referees.
I think it's created an extra level of chaos.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't disagree with you. Somebody asked, I'll try and find the commenter, on the questions, like in a comparison to
should be in the notes.
The NFL. The notes, I must admit, the notes are very rushed. I've been swamped this week and didn't have time for Kevin Friend and his rubbish.
Yeah, none of us did. We should be able to swear in this podcast, by the way.
We should. Today's the day, isn't it?
So I did a podcast last week, and you were allowed to swear on that podcast. And when they were swearing, I think I was pulling a face every time, forgetting that it's actually okay to swear on that. Like, ooh.
Naughty.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. Kevin Friend has made a catastrophic refereeing error, would be how I'd describe it.
Yes.
I don't know if you'd agree with that synopsis.
100%. And I got so many tweets on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, just going, oh, what do you think of referees now, Don?
I mean, you have made a rod for your own back a little bit.
It doesn't mean that all referees are bad. It means that Kevin Friend had a terrible afternoon, I would say. I don't think he was particularly good all game.
I've got thoughts on his general performance as
well. Which I guess we can come on to. But this decision is awful. And coming back to your original point, and a lot of people tweeting saying, what happens to Kevin Friend? Should he be suspended?
Thrown in jail, probably.
Referees do get demoted. We've seen it before. And it's interesting with the international break what happens, because it's kind of one of those that maybe slides under the radar.
Definitely make him ref a League 1 or League 2 game over the international break. For sure.
I mean, I don't know what the rules are in terms of how many leagues you can be demoted in a one.
Then make him go to Millwall away the week after. That would be what I'd do to him.
Unpleasant. But yeah, I would be interested to see where he ends up after the international break, whether he's in the Championship or not. I kind of so where I do make a rod for my own back is I think that everybody makes mistakes. Players made mistakes, and Villa made mistakes during the game as well. And sometimes they're as costly as these refereeing errors.
So bad.
And then, So I guess the point is that you don't automatically get dropped if you make one mistake. However, I think Friend had a poor enough game that the Referees Association, or whatever it is, should have a look at that performance and review it, because it was terrible.
But what has he seen? In what way is a player who has made an effort to pass the ball as he's stumbling and play a through ball? In what world can that ever be simulation? How?
The only thing that I can think of,
and I'm arguing with you like you're Kevin Friend.
Yeah, exactly.
It's harsh on you.
The only thing that I can think of here, and this doesn't reflect well on Friend either, is that he wants to be the referee that books Grealish for diving.
There is that.
That's the only thing I can think of.
My thoughts are, now I've been quite sad since the game, and I've probably watched, I don't know why I've put myself through this, because I'm still very, very upset. Although coming in the podcast booth doesn't naturally make me more jovial, but I've been very angry.
Yeah.
I was very angry on Sunday.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Very angry at work yesterday. You take it which way you want. Very angry yesterday at work, and not feeling much better about it today, because I'm seething about it, because I think it's an absolutely disgusting decision, and it's cost us. Where am I going with this?
You were going to make a point.
What my point is, I've watched every highlights back pretty much now, and I watched the extended highlights on Sky, the 30-minute highlights, and he's made a lot of bad decisions in that game in terms of whenever a Villa player has made their first tackle, it's a yellow card. Palace have done the same, first tackle, and it's not a yellow card. But no problems really with the sending off.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that he got booked the first time is a little harsh, because he wasn't doing that for the Palace players, because Milivojevic got 3 or 4 chances before he got booked. Yeah. If I recall. So that's where I have a little bit of a problem. But because he's done that so much, McGinn and Grealish, obviously being playing in the middle of the park, have spent the whole game arguing with Friend about his decisions. And you know how it is. People will swear at the referee, they'll get annoyed with the referee, they'll have a go. And that's what McGinn and Grealish in particular have done. Yeah. So it almost feels to me like, well, you've been giving me stick all game, Jack Grealish. I'm going to book you for diving now to teach you a lesson not to give me stick all game. And it feels like that's the arrogance of the man. I'm watching him and his face. It looks, every time he makes a yellow card, it's so smug. It's not like theatrical like Mike Dean. I'm a massive fan of Mike Dean, but he does it to be theatrical. Kevin Friend is walking around with this obnoxious look on his face all game like he's better than everyone else. You should not know who the referee is in the game if the referee's done his job.
100%. Yeah.
What I shouldn't be seeing after a game where he's made a catastrophic error as well is on Facebook that he's doing after dinner speaking an evening with Kevin Friend. Who gives a toss about going to an evening with Kevin Friend? You wouldn't even go to that.
I mean,
even before Saturday, you probably wouldn't want to go to that, would you? It was an evening with, who's the good one? Mike Oliver?
Howard Webb,
someone like that. What's Kevin Friend ever done? He's refereed an FA Cup final, I think. They chuck that out like, I don't know, like raffle tickets, don't they, to referees nowadays? They all pretty much get a go at doing that.
No, but
bang average ones have done the FA Cup final.
Still not true, but go on.
But why are people like Kevin Friend doing after dinner speaking? And more like not even after dinner speaking, an evening with Kevin Friend. What is that?
I mean, of all
that annoyed me.
Of all the things that could annoy you, that seems to be the most petty.
Because I'm saying, if the referee does his job, you shouldn't know who he is.
Yeah.
He's trying to make people know who he is by doing social events.
Sure, but then to counter that, I mean, this is going to make me sound like such a loser.
It's happened before.
But referees, I think, it's so interesting to know what's going on in a referee's mind and what's happening, and the opportunity to listen to not necessarily Kevin Friend, but I don't know.
Current Premier League referee should not be doing that.
That's an interesting point. But then do you say that no players should do that either?
Current players don't really do that kind of thing. It's only when they've retired, people like Paul Merson, Matt Letizia, they go around and do the dinner circuit.
Yeah. I guess, but then it's kind of like...
Current Premier League referees shouldn't be allowed... They're not allowed to speak to people after the games, the press after the game.
So that's another point, though.
But they shouldn't be doing social events.
I don't disagree with the first point. I think that we'll talk about that. I think referees probably should. That there should be some more communication, whether it's the referees or the referees, the Premier League arm. Referees
that's allowed.
What's allowed?
He's allowed to do things like that.
Yeah.
Put on an evening.
I think it's up to you whether you want to go to an evening with Kevin Friend or not. And if he,
I mean, I'm not going to go.
No,
but there might be some Villa fans.
That would be interesting. There was a bit of a movement, wasn't there, on Saturday night?
Well, yeah, he was everywhere. To be fair, I mean, to be honest, I don't condone everyone then coming in and making threats and things like that to Kevin Friend. I don't condone that. Yeah. That's wrong. That's fundamentally wrong. But I can condone people having a pop about his refereeing. It's atrocious.
I think you make a good point that if you're a current Premier League referee, then you're opening a rob for your own back, but two, you're maybe influencing your future professionalism. Anyway, I wanted to touch on something that you said like minutes ago because you went on for ages.
It's a bit of a tangent.
It was, and it was about Grealish and McGinn, and Grealish being in Friend's ear all game. And I think that's a really interesting point that you made, and I don't think you're wrong necessarily. But
I'm quite proud of that point because I didn't see that speculated about anywhere else. It made me feel like an investigative journalist.
Did it indeed? Yeah. I've talked about the psychology of referees before, and when somebody's in your ear all the time, you are more likely to notice them and to go, well, this is you. I've been speaking to you all game. Bang, here you are. Now, that's not saying it's right, and I'm not for 1 minute saying that the booking was deserved or even anything about that decision was deserved, because I'm not. But it does beg the question, how effective has that been and how effective Grealish is? I know everyone's going to say, Grealish is the captain, he should be allowed. And he should, to a point, but if you're getting on the referee's wick...
Which he probably was,
then you are making a rob for your own back a little bit.
But he's getting annoyed because there's no consistency in what the referee's doing. And I was a few beers in, and I could see that there was no consistency. And I might not be a massive fan of referees in terms of, on this podcast, I've slagged them off quite a lot. I won't describe myself as a referee hater.
Yeah.
I can sit there and give a balanced view. If Villa deserve things, I'll say. So the Trezeguet sending off is fair.
Yeah.
Two silly challenges. The second one's very silly when you've been booked.
The first one's a bit reckless.
But like Gilbert's, for example, the guy's tripped himself up. Gilbert hasn't done anything, and he's given a yellow card immediately.
Listen, I agree with you. That's why I kind of said Friend had a bad game throughout. I agree with you. The Trezeguet, for me, is two definite bookings. He deserves to go. But the injustice comes where every Villa foul seems to be a booking and every Palace foul doesn't.
And we go back to the Bournemouth game. How many chances is Billing given before he gets sent off? And there's no consistency around the whole refereeing spectrum from what I've seen in the Premier League so far. Harry Kane dived on Sunday, or was perceived to have dived because he got given as a dive.
Yeah.
Letter of the law then. Does he not get booked? Because he didn't.
But it was a penalty, wasn't it? They gave a penalty.
No.
The other one. Sorry.
He
got a penalty on. Oh, no, he didn't get a penalty. No, sorry.
He was done for diving.
Right,
the referee said it was a dive.
Yeah.
He gave the free kick to Arsenal because Harry Kane dived. And to be honest, I don't care that Grealish got booked. That's academic. That's not our problem. That's not the problem with what happened. But surely Kane should be getting booked then, because Grealish got booked for diving the day before. If you dive, it's a yellow card.
Yeah. It is.
Harry Kane didn't get. Well, there's just no consistency throughout, and I think, as I say, I think VAR has added a new level of confusion to things.
Cautions for unsporting behaviour, attempts to deceive the referee by feigning injury or pretending to have been fouled. Simulation.
Yellow card.
Yes, yellow card.
So why didn't Harry Kane get booked by Martin Atkinson?
Well, I guess, and again, the fundamental thing here is that Martin Atkinson is a different person on a different day to Kevin Friend. They're different people.
He's got to obey the law, surely.
He does, and he got it wrong. I'm not saying that he didn't get it right.
But if Kevin Friend, I disagree with his decision, but if he thinks it's a dive by Jack Grealish, he has obeyed the law by giving him a yellow card.
Yes.
The next day, Martin Atkinson has not obeyed the law.
Yeah, totally. But it's a completely different game on a different day.
I don't care about that, essentially.
But what I'm saying is that will then, I think all referees get marked and they'll get pulled through by assessors every week, and that will be called up, and Martin Atkinson will have got that wrong. I guess that comes back to my point. Martin Atkinson shouldn't be dropped for getting that decision wrong because he made a mistake in that one moment, in my opinion. If you're going to drop
He knows that diving is a yellow card.
If you're going to, but it's the pressure of a North London derby. Sometimes you're going to miss things. You're not perfect all of the time, unlike yourself. But
I'm not perfect. I do things wrong all the time.
If you drop every referee,
I'm not getting paid six-figure salary.
If you drop every referee for every mistake, you're not going to have any referees left.
I'm saying, I'm using that as an example of the lack of consistency on the refereeing spectrum.
But I think if you want consistency across the board every week, perfectly, you're always going to be unhappy. Now, I want to look at Kevin Friend's game in particular because I think that's worthy of being dropped. It's impossible to compare it to Martin Atkinson.
Gina said it was the worst. This is one of the worst decisions he ever seen.
I enjoyed Genius's analysis.
I don't always.
No, exactly. I was going to say the same.
I did enjoy that.
And he was spot on. And I felt like Gary Lineker was totally out of it when he was talking to Villa.
I felt like Gary Lineker found it quite amusing that we'd been done.
Well, so I don't really Gary Lineker, take him or leave him, but
I quite like him.
He just seemed a bit like tired, or he got loads of stuff wrong in our link, and he called Cahill, didn't he? No, he said Cahill dived.
For anyone who doesn't know anything about that, he called Cahill.
Yeah.
He called him by his name.
He said Tim Cahill dived, didn't he?
Instead of Gary Cahill.
But Gary Cahill didn't dive.
Gary Cahill did
go down. Yeah, you're right.
So if someone was diving in that situation, it wasn't Jack Grealish. It was Cahill who was simulating an injury. Jack Grealish passed the football, passed the ball,
and his eyes look that way. Everything about it is straight to Lansbury.
And let me tell you, Jack's one of the first players that if he gets fouled, he'll turn around to the referee and throw his arms up in the air. And he did not do that.
That was the second point. That's the second point I was going to make, because I've said before on this podcast that Jack Grealish can go down easily. He's hit a lot and he's fouled, but he does go down and then he throws his hands up and he does do that. And that annoys some referees. Not for a second did he do that. There was even if he went down and it wasn't a foul, he was not diving in that situation.
I can't understand how in any way he thinks it's a dive. I don't get what he's saying.
Yeah. I can't give you an answer to that. There's no answer to that. Only Kevin Friend knows why he's done that. Whether it's an honest mistake, which seems fairly unlikely, or whether he had an agenda, or whether Grealish should be getting on his wick.
I think it has to be a retaliation to that. I think it has to be.
The only other thing is what I said. It's an ego thing, and he wants to be the one that books Grealish.
Why would you want to, as a referee? Why would you want to do?
And I don't believe in referee conspiracy theories, as you know. Yeah. But if there is at all an ego, then maybe that's the thing. Maybe, I don't know.
I think it has to be that Grealish has gotten his nerves through the game. That's the only reason I can think of, because it's so clearly not a dive. It's not simulation. It's so annoying because obviously Palace might be down there. We might be down there come the end of the season. It's an important game. And I'm not saying we deserved anything out of the game. I think that point that people are making is completely irrelevant. That, the refereeing has overshadowed the fact we didn't play very well. I don't care about that. I care about the fact that we did enough to draw that game because we scored a perfectly good goal in the 95th, 96th minute. And away games I'm at, Villa never score in the last minute. It's never really happened to away games I've been at. And I was in, because we were in the director's box thanks to Chris Showbiz and his Dolan.
Yeah.
I was amongst a lot of Palace fans, and I had fully gone when we scored. I was up. Dolan was up. The head of Sky Sports Football was in front of us. He's a Villa fan. He was up. Ian Taylor, Brian Little. Everyone's up. When I say everyone, there's a pocket. But I'd fully gone. I'd had a few beers. I was leery. I had absolutely gone. And then I had to sit down, my tail between my legs when the goal got disallowed. And that's all because Kevin Friend is an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm just seething about the whole thing still.
Yeah,
I've gone the other way now. I'm getting annoyed talking about it.
And to go back to, again, your original point, the football, a lot of football depends on a bit of luck. You know, we saw in the first
no luck
that too. In the opening couple of games, a few goals deflected have cost us potentially 1 or 2 points there.
The bounce of the ball has not been good for us so far in the Premier League.
But then to the other side, we rode a little bit of luck against Everton. So it's going to be massively important. But if you get into a bit of a rhythm and bad luck kind of keeps on creeping up on you. You know, you look at Palace and it's an away game, with all due respect to Palace, that you go, we could get something here. These are the results that we need to get to stay up. You know, we've already had Bournemouth at home and Palace away, where you're looking at, you know, hopefully 4 to 6 points isn't too optimistic.
It's achievable.
It's achievable, yes, fair. So, and we've got nothing out of those two, and to have only
but
three.
The referees have influenced both of those games,
and you're right. And referees do influence games. I think that's fundamental, and no amount of technology is ever going to stop that. So it's part of the game, and it's part of the reason that we get results sometimes and we love it, and it's part of the reason that we don't get results and we hate it. But this incident is beyond a normal refereeing mistake.
Catastrophic.
I want to make that completely clear, that this was a terrible decision in several different parts, and it's beyond the norms of making a normal refereeing mistake, in my opinion.
It took away Henry Lansbury's first Premier League goal from him.
Also frustrating
as well.
Yeah.
Aston Radford would have been going nuts in
punch.
that away end. This is what he's been waiting to ram down my throat for years. Henry Lansbury, he loves Henry Lansbury, and it's gone for nothing. It's a good goal as well.
It's a nice
Grealish has done a lovely bit of footwork to get in that position and play that pass, and he's been robbed of a very, very good assist as well. It's just like I say, we shouldn't even know who Kevin Friend is, but the fact is we do.
Yes.
He's bad in that game all those years ago when Paul Lambert reported him as well. We played Chelsea, we lost 2-1, and Paul Lambert made an official complaint about his performance. Just letting blatant handballs go. It was John Terry at the time, I think, and Ivanovic. Ivanovic should have been sent off in that game. Who scores the winner? Ivanovic. But Kevin Friend, man, get a life.
Well, let him know.
Get yourself off the after dinner circuit. Concentrate on your referee.
I've come around to your point of view, actually, that whilst you're a professional, you shouldn't do that. Once you're done, tell all the stories you want.
They all do. Mark Halsey, Graham Paul.
Once you're done, because Graham.
What happened to Uriah Renner?
He
was a terrible.
Well, he went on Sky Sports for a bit, didn't he?
Did he?
I think so.
He was a terrible referee. And then you have to. I mean, obviously I work at Sky, so I have to be a little bit careful what I say. But Dermot Gallagher's on Sky yesterday. Get off the fence, mate. It's obvious he's made a mistake. Just say it.
But then Bobby Madley as well on Talk Sport comes in, and there's several referees who are kind of. It can be a bit of a club there, and I understand that, and they are mates most likely, some of these guys.
But if you do something really bad, I'm probably going to say. Yeah, it's wrong from Tom Julian.
I don't know.
I love Tom, but he's made a mistake there.
But if you go back a year ago and we were defending Bruce at times when we probably shouldn't have been defending Bruce, there are times where you get things wrong. There are error of judgment, and we were upfront about it.
I feel like it's a little bit different. Dermot Gallagher, because he knows that he has made a mistake. He knows it's a bad refereeing decision. Just say it.
Yeah, especially if you're brought on as an analyst, essentially a refereeing analyst, you need to.
That's what that whole program that he was on is based around.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, I won't go into massive detail on it, but Bobby Madley did message me after one of my tweets I think he was best pleased with my tweet, but I will say as well, TalkSport did him over.
Oh, well,
because the wording of their tweet was horrific compared to what he'd actually said.
That was his problem.
Yeah,
is that he wasn't annoyed at you.
Wasn't me.
Yeah,
it was TalkSport. But I did have a very reasonable conversation with Bobby Madley privately, and I'm trying to think how I can word this. He doesn't want to be someone that hammers other referees.
Yeah, because he knows he's been in that situation.
Done that job.
He's made fairly high profile mistakes. I can't think of any, but he probably has. And it's a difficult job, and you don't want to be, or you don't necessarily have to be the one that hammers people. And I'm not getting on Bobby Madley's back, but again, if you choose to go on
anyone's back, let's get on Kevin Friend's back.
If you want to go on Talk Sport, then have an opinion about it. Don't sit on the fence. And Dermot Gallagher's the same. I want to get off this a little bit. Joe Rowland says, do you think more can be done to improve communication between fans, clubs and refs rather than just keeping them quiet? Feels like the FA and the Premier League are defending refs and hiding them from their mistakes rather than admitting them and learning. I will say, one of the things that the NFL do is
it's not like you to talk about NFL.
Come on. Is they are better with referees. They communicate what should have happened a lot better than the Premier League does.
It does feel like they go to full-on protection mode, but the fact will be, if he gets dropped, we will know that the Premier League think he has made a mistake. But he's not allowed to come and talk about it, Kevin Friend. But I think he'd be too scared to admit that he's made a mistake, and it sounds like he doesn't think he has made a mistake.
Sure, there's been in the past where the refs have said, "Look, I made that mistake," and you should have
said it to the manager, and then the manager comes on and says, "Look, I've spoke to him. He's made a mistake."
Yeah,
okay. But there's making mistakes, and then there's making mistakes that completely change the outcome of a game, and that is exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, I agree.
That's unacceptable.
I agree. I even think that there's a place for like a referee spokesperson, essentially, like the NFL has, which comes out and says, Kevin Friend made this mistake. You don't have to say he will be suspended 2 games or whatever, but you have to say
but that's what will happen. He'll either carry on Premier League, in which case they think he hasn't made a mistake, or he'll get demoted to the Championship, or the League One. But in which case we'll all know he's made a mistake, but nothing's been ever discussed about it.
But that's what I'm saying.
Transparent, it should be.
That's what I'm saying. To Joel Rowland's point, there is an opportunity there for the Premier League to have a spoke. No, I don't see why not, though. I think that would help. I don't see how it could make it worse, because at the moment it's just fueling Villa fans' anger, rightfully, but you will then get fans who turn up at a dinner with Kevin Friend.
Do you think Villa fans will go?
I wouldn't be surprised if
someone will go.
If a dozen went,
and they'll probably kick off.
Potentially,
that probably doesn't make us look great.
Well, but we're not the ones. We're not the ones that first promoted it.
I imagine he might get cancelled, maybe.
Potentially, if there's danger or whatever, I don't know.
What do you think of? I've not asked you about this in general. Like then the VAR, the people that are doing the VAR, it's another layer of referees who don't want to say they don't want to say that the referee's made a mistake. So it's pointless.
I don't really understand this point. Like, I don't understand what. Like, if VAR shouldn't, if it's not referred to officially to VAR, then VAR shouldn't come out and say anything.
But I'm saying in general, there seems to be a reluctance to overturn. I've not seen many decisions overturned.
So I sent somebody a link today. They did a study last year, before it came into the Premier League, that referee decisions were at 93% before. So this was a study from 2016 to 2018 across 5 top leagues or something like that. And referees' decisions were at 93% before VAR in this period, and then after it was 98%. So there were enough decisions that were overturned to make it statistically significant or whatever.
Okay.
So there is evidence to say that VAR suggest that VAR improves things. I don't think we've seen that in the Premier League yet. There seems to be a lot of teething issues. We've seen it in the Women's World Cup as well. There are issues there.
The only thing I remember is the Peteguera penalty that he missed. The keeper's foot was off the line.
But that again seemed very close, right? It was like,
I can't remember. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head that's been overturned so far.
Yeah.
And also, I think he doesn't often, but Aston, I've been speaking to him, he raises some good points as well. Why is the iteration of VAR different across different leagues? Surely it should be the same across the board. VAR should be looking at the same thing globally. Why is it different in the Bundesliga as the Premier League?
I've got a few problems with FIFA in that regard, of not rolling things out at the same time. Like transfer windows, for example. It makes
Well, that's going to go back. So that's going to end up going back.
as it should, because it makes no sense that Real Madrid are able to do a week or 10 days more business than Villa
Essentially.
or
yeah.
it just that makes no sense to me. So I agree with you, and I agree with Aston that it should be consistent, because then it makes it
on the governing body.
But then it makes things better for World Cups and Euros and that kind of thing, because everyone's singing on the same hymn sheet.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because VAR was used differently in the... When was it used? Was it used in
Women's World Cup.
Was it the Women's World? It wasn't used in the last men's tournament, was it?
I don't think so. No. Can't remember.
It was used in the FA Cup. That was the worst thing as well in the FA Cup last season. If it's a Premier League team, a Premier League ground that was equipped for VAR, they would use the VAR. And then, I think there was a Swansea played Man City, and they were a Championship team, and VAR couldn't be used, and Swansea got done or something silly. So there's then competitions where there's 4 games taking place across there's the game week, the FA Cup round weekend.
Yeah.
But some using VAR and some aren't.
Yeah, I get that.
The whole thing is madness.
I get a little bit, because then when you introduce it to Premier League, people say, why isn't it in the Championship? Or why, like, at some point there's got to be a cut-off. But if you're going to have it in the FA Cup, you have to have it across the whole FA Cup. You can't just have it bits and pieces. The whole thing is very, very murky. Alex Linham, do you think that the players felt early on against Palace that they had to be cautious with Mr. Friend because he was obviously very card happy? I feel like we didn't look to press for the ball like usual and stir off Palace to give them possession for large periods. Do you think that played into any players' minds, that they felt under pressure that they might be booked? Or
I mean, the fact we've come away with 5 yellow cards tells me probably not. But I think it was just 2 teams. I mean, we've not talked actually much about the football. I'm sure maybe for the next half an hour we should probably do that.
Probably.
I felt like it was 2 teams that wanted to sit in and catch the other one on the break. And in the end, we got done by that, because it was Crystal Palace don't want to have possession. They're a counter-attacking side. That's their strength. And I feel like we wanted to take that away. We wanted to be tight, sit back, and maybe try and pick them off on the break because they were the home team. So I just felt, I disagree with that. I think it was just 2 teams that wanted to play on the counter-attack and couldn't.
Interesting.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact that, again, certainly in Europe, managers will instruct players to play differently because they know the referee is card happy, or I'm not saying that this is true, but potentially Dean Smith said, look, just change your game because we don't want to lose anything.
I think it was just tactics.
Obviously, then Trezeguet goes anyway. But the referee, I mean, you can tell 32 minutes in and we haven't talked
but that's
anything.
what people want us to talk about.
Well, 100%. But it's frustrating that we have to talk about that.
Especially for you, of the club.
What, having to
of the refereeing club.
Having to go against my boys.
Yeah, you're not taking the Bobby Madley route.
I'm not. And after dinner with Tom Julian, it's not selling out, is it?
I'd imagine there'd be similar takers to that than there would be to Kevin. Just Villa fans would have a go to beat you up.
I'm on side of the Villa fans. This is the annoying thing. I got so many tweets, even after I said that Kevin Friend had an absolute clanger. People tweeting me like, going, "Why do you love referees so much?" It doesn't mean that all referees are bad just because Kevin Friend had an absolute stinker.
No.
And that's not how we should go into games. Like, you shouldn't be looking for excuses that the referee's going to con you, because generally they're not looking for a con. I don't believe hardly any referees go in. A couple of people
saying some do.
Well, there's obviously cases where referees have been bribed and all that kind of thing.
I don't think there's bribery gone on here.
But I had a couple of tweets going, "Oh, well, they're brown papers," and the guy that won 250 grand, who was a Leicester fan, and Bobby Madley's a Leicester fan.
That's clutching just a little bit.
And I saw tweets saying that Bobby Madley's brother... no, not Bobby Madley. Kevin Friend. No, Bobby Madley's brother was on VAR, and therefore that's why Bobby Madley was defending the thing.
Is that true?
I don't know. There was a Madley on VAR,
wow.
But I have no idea.
It wasn't Richard from this morning, was it? Richard Madley.
That's Madley.
Oh, is it? Same thing. Not far off.
I think it's spelled different.
Richard and Judy in the VAR.
Maybe they would have done better.
Yeah.
Let's get away from this then. Let's talk about Villa.
I bet you we end up back on it.
100%. Villa didn't play that well.
No, and I'm not saying they did. But I don't like that people are saying we shouldn't focus on the referee.
They're not independent things.
Yeah, like we played well against Bournemouth and lost, and the referee was I'm not sure what I'm saying there. Do you know what I mean? We played quite well. We played badly against Palace.
Yeah.
The referee got involved and we lost. We played well against Bournemouth and the referee got involved and we lost. So we didn't look back at the performance that day and say, "Oh, we played really well." We've still looked at the referee for not sending him killing off.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to look at the referee when we've lost, like I did when we won.
That's fine. We've looked at the referee. What did you think of the Villa performance?
as I say, I think it was two teams that wanted to sit back. I think the 10 men stifled the game plan a little bit because it's always going to make life more difficult for us. I just think we lack something going forward at the moment. I've got to say, I think it's pace.
Wesley had a couple of chances early, not the best chances in the world, but kind of after the first 15, 20 minutes, we kind of lost Wesley a little bit because there wasn't much around him.
It's a difficult gig up there on your own at the moment for him.
Yeah.
I'm determined to not have a pop at Wesley.
Yeah, I'm not having a pop at him.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to because I don't think the fundamental flaws in our game at the moment are down to him. He's coming in, dropping deep and getting the ball. There's been people going beyond you. I watched the Arsenal Spurs game on Sunday, and Lacazette, I don't think it's really his game coming deep and getting the ball. I think that's what he wants to do, but he was doing it. But you know what? When he did do it, boom, you've got pace, and I just think we're lacking a bit of pace in our side. I don't think we had much pace last season, to be fair.
It's interesting because Trezeguet, who was so quick in the opener against Spurs, seems to have got quieter and quieter. Like, he obviously got sent off on Saturday, but wasn't super lively against Bournemouth or Everton.
No, Everton, he definitely. Bournemouth, I thought he did. I thought he was good personally.
Right.
I don't remember him too much in the Everton game.
Yeah.
And he certainly wasn't involved for the 54 minutes he was on the pitch, like many others. In the second half, we do look like we're lacking penetration. I think we're not looking like a team that's going to score many goals. I think the defence overall has been pretty good.
Yeah, I do too.
So when your defence is pretty good, you could nick a game 1-0, and that quite easily. If that had been 11v11, we might have come away and won that game 1-0. We didn't. We got caught on the break, which is what Palace wanted to do all day. I will say in the first half, I think Palace had a lot of chances, a lot of stuff going across the goal, and they were definitely the more dangerous team. And I'm not saying they didn't deserve to win the game because they were probably on balance of play.
Yeah,
the better side. But it's just the fact that we've been robbed that irks me at the end because we had a perfectly good goal chalked off. But there's something not right. We're definitely not looking fluid.
No.
Coming forward, are we?
No.
The balance doesn't seem quite there. But then I'm also not sure what he can do with the squad to make the balance better. If that makes sense.
I've heard a few people saying, should Grealish become part of the front three? So you kind of take him out of that midfield three. I don't know, maybe play Lewis, Hourihane, McGinn, and then push Grealish up further. Does that create a little bit more of an option for Wesley to bring Grealish into the game, playing them closer together?
He took Wesley off, didn't he, and brought Lansbury on, and Grealish played closer to Keane and Davies, and we did look a little bit better at that point. So that would say if you playing Grealish further forward, he's going to get closer to your striker. You might look a little bit more dangerous, but I don't think he'd want to play on the left. That's not his position. We'd pan Bruce if Grealish was playing out on the left.
We'd lose a lot of width because he'd be constantly coming in. It would make our.
We've not got much width as is.
Yeah, it would make our formation or our actual shape very odd because Grealish won't stay there.
Well, it'd be Hotter and Grealish then.
Yeah.
The two people that naturally want to come inside.
Yeah,
Neil Taylor's not going to provide you with a massive amount of width coming forward.
A lot of people saying
attacking forward, but not his fault because it's not his game.
A lot of people saying Target would have to play in that incident,
he can't at the moment. He's injured.
But then you're also liable to be exposed as well.
That's the thing. Grealish was one of the furthest men back for the goal.
Yeah,
and that's happened a few times where Grealish has ended up being the furthest back. It's going to sound like I'm picking on Douglas Luiz. I'm not because he was fine on Saturday. But considering we're supposed to have there's this need for a defensive midfielder. Teams are running through the middle of us quite easily, I think. Considering that people say you need a dedicated defensive midfielder, you have to have someone there to win the ball. Well, where was he for that goal? Where was it?
I don't know.
Was Grealish the furthest back?
What did you think of the goal? Do you think Grealish and... I thought Grealish and Mings were beaten quite cheaply.
Yeah. The balance of the ball, not great again for us.
Unfortunate.
Which has been a problem throughout the season so far.
Yeah.
One, I don't think Grealish should be the furthest man back, or one of the furthest men back. Initially, when I watched it, I thought, does Mings need to come that far and get involved when Grealish is there? Do they both need to be there? That was my initial thought. They're a bit unlucky with the way it transpires, but it does look weak defending. They're a little bit unlucky, but it looks weak. And Ayew, to be fair, has finished it well.
Yeah, he stuck it away well, didn't he?
Yeah, of course he has.
He hasn't scored back-to-back since 2015 when he was playing for Villa.
Really? That doesn't surprise me at all. It's a poor goal to concede, but then at the moment, I think that about nearly every goal we've shipped. I think, a bit frustrating. Could have done a little bit better there.
Yeah.
So we're not getting the rub of the green in general, defensively or with referees so far this season. But consequently, we're not doing enough going forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, Lou, who says don't try and pronounce her Twitter handle because I botched it last time. Our set pieces have been terrible in the last 3 games, but were a major strength last season. If Connor isn't going to play, then we need to get someone working on them pretty sharpish. Teams that come up generally need to score goals from set pieces. Like you say, we're not scoring openly.
I don't remember us having too many set pieces on Saturday.
No, true.
The game before...
Friend's fault.
To be fair, in 2 other games, we've had 0 corners.
Yes.
Was it the Bournemouth one where we just kept doing the short corner and it wasn't really making much of an angle for us, to be fair? It was because we didn't have corners in Spurs or the Everton game.
We were lucky to get into the Spurs half.
Which is bizarre to not have corners in 2 games. I don't particularly remember us having too many corners on Saturday either, so we're not really getting a lot of set pieces, but when we do, the delivery's not as good because essentially Connor is a set piece. He's a specialist from set plays and he's not on the pitch.
Yeah.
So the deliveries aren't going to be as good because he's not there.
I agree with
Target's got a good set piece, I think, but he's not there either.
No.
So
who does it fall to then?
Grealish and McGinn. Grealish and McGinn in the set piece. Grealish can whip in a good ball.
Yeah.
As well, it just hasn't happened thus far.
Tom Heaton, man of the match for you for Villa?
Probably.
Made some great saves, Mihailovic.
He's probably average from everyone else, wasn't it? And he made some very good saves, a couple of really good saves, Tom Heaton. So yeah, I'd give it to him.
Was there anyone else that kind of, I mean, not necessarily stood out, but you wanted to mention?
I felt like we went down to 10 men. Fine, nothing Dean Smith can do about that. It did feel a little bit like, you remember the Rotherham game when we went down to 10 men, he bought Codger on at half time and went 2 up front. And we just tried to replicate that again, and it perhaps wasn't the right thing to do on this occasion. Because Keenan came on. So then we had 2 similar centre forwards playing together. I'm not convinced those 2 would ever be a strike pairing. Also,
Holly Gen 86, is there a possibility of switching to 4-4-2 with Wes and Keenan? The fact that people say there are 2 similar seems pointless, as I truly feel... You're pointless, mate. As I truly feel they would bother even the best defences. They're so physical in comparison to our midfield.
Realistically, did they bother Palace?
I don't feel like we gave Gary Cahill too much work to do.
I don't remember us having too many chances in that game until the end when we were catastrophically robbed of a goal.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, stemming from that incident where we didn't score, which we did score, fan violence at the end of the game. Yep. There seemed to be some quite serious issues with the stewarding. I've seen photos of the stewards with their kind of rods out and
the stewards with their rods out, or the police with
their
batons?
The police with their batons, and
stewards shouldn't be getting the rods out of the football match.
Not anymore.
No.
But so apparently it was Johnny Gold was quite talked quite a lot about the fact that it was the stewards that started it, inciting the kind of war of words, and then just escalated, and it looked awful.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I wasn't in that end, so I can't give although being at the game, I can't give a bird's eye view or give a great description of what happened because I wasn't there, and what I would say would be sheer speculation, and I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
I will say I've spoke to someone who I trust, and I've spoke to Villa fans that were in that away end, and who I trust, and they're saying to me it was heavy-handed stewards that started. Obviously, after what's happened, tensions are going to be high. So the catalyst for that again, and I'm not saying it's none of that violence and stuff is not okay.
Yeah.
The catalyst is the refereeing decision has obviously raised tempers in the away end. From the video I've seen, it does look like one guy has been hit with a baton for not really necessary. I don't know what he's done before that.
Yeah.
But the guy is on the floor, and they're still just whacking him with the baton. That gets other Villa fans' backs up, who are then trying to...
Of course it does.
Alcohol fueled, obviously, some of it as well. And violence is never okay. And again, it's speculation, but I've heard some stories, don't know if they're true or not, but if they are true, completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
From Villa fans. But unless you were there, you don't know what happened. And I know fans that were there, reliable fans, nice people, and they say to me that the police and the stewarding was very heavy-handed, and that was what escalated it.
So I think that Gould and the Villa Trust have launched an investigation into what went on. So I presume Lee Priest, the operations director at Villa, will speak to Palace, and there'll obviously be camera footage, and they'll try and work it out
from every angle. If a Villa fan has done anything wrong, they will get banned.
As they should, I think it's fair to say as well. So, we'll wait for the outcome on that one.
But that all probably doesn't happen if the referee hasn't made a mistake. That's not me saying it's okay again,
no.
But I'm saying it probably doesn't happen if it's not for Kevin Friend.
Kevin Friend. Got a lot to answer for because he's bang wrong.
I don't like saying stuff like that, though, because Villa are just never going to come out of it good.
Johnny Gold compared it to the 80s and 90s. Obviously, that's slightly before our time. But you've seen the pictures of these kind of horrific incidents, and it doesn't look dissimilar to that kind of...
I've really only seen the one video, probably the one that Johnny commented on. Right. It's really the only angle I've seen of it.
Yeah. It looks...
I don't like to speculate because I don't know what happened.
It looks... No, absolutely. It looks unpleasant. There's not a huge amount more that we want to talk about going into the international break, which is really annoying.
Talk about Tyrone Mings.
We could, so that's where I was going to go with it. Tyrone Mings has obviously joined up with the England squad, which is great. Do you think he'll play?
He's got a chance. You look at the two games, Bulgaria and Kosovo. You're going Bulgaria game, aren't you?
I'm Bulgaria, yeah.
I'd be jealous if you get to see Tyrone make his England debut and I'm not there.
I'm hoping to see our mate Stilian Petrov.
That would be nice as well. But I'll be very envious if you see Tyrone. Mind you, I presume there's tickets available and I could probably go if I wanted to.
Probably.
I think it was a sellout. He's got a chance. I look at the centre-backs in the squad. It's him. Obviously, Maguire's nailed on. Tyrone Mings, Michael Keane and Joe Gomez. So Joe Gomez isn't playing at the moment for Liverpool. Both Everton and Villa are shipping goals, to be fair.
Yeah, but Mings has been an outstanding player for Villa.
Yeah, but his stats are up there as the best in the league, defensively. Does Maguire prefer playing on the left, though? He's playing there for Man U. He's played there for England, and he's played there for Leicester on the left, I think. Does he prefer playing that side? If so, Mings ain't going to play on the right, I wouldn't think. So it depends on Maguire, I would say. Maguire prefers because he's the number one centre-back.
Yeah. Any chance Heaton plays?
Nah, Pickford's the number one.
But maybe one each? San Marino?
They won't do stuff like that. Is it San Marino? I thought it was Kosovo. I thought it was Bulgaria and Kosovo.
Scotland playing San Marino, right?
Yeah.
Bang right. I mean, same with all due respect to Kosovo and San Marino.
No, Pickford will play both games because he's the number one, I would think. But it's great for Tyrone Mings to be in the squad because I didn't expect that.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
I thought he'd give it a few more months before Tyrone. He looked at Tyrone, maybe in a friendly or something, if there was any friendlies coming up. I think it speaks volumes for Tyrone Mings. And I think it's very rare that we've escalated a player to that level. Because he was never going to play for England this time last year.
Yeah.
Sitting in the Bournemouth reserves. Tyrone Mings has been excellent for Villa, but Villa have been excellent for Tyrone Mings as well. Sure. And he's helped propel Villa back to the Premier League, and Villa, as a consequence, have propelled him to international status. It's a great story as well, and he deserves it because he's a great player and a great man.
Yeah.
Ever since he's laid eyes on Dan Rolinson, I mean, it speaks volumes that he's got in the England squad.
That makes sense. Yeah. Rollo predicted it as well, didn't he? Didn't Rollo send a tweet saying that he'd help him get into the England squad?
No, I made that up.
Oh, did you?
I doctored a tweet. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Someone fell for it.
Oh, mate, I just saw it and glanced at it. I was like, wow.
You did not notice how bad the font was.
I mean, I didn't give it a huge amount of time. No. Rob Henry, what is your verdict on the first 10%?
I'd like to hear more about Tyrone. I want to hear what you think.
Well, I couldn't agree more with you.
We should focus on it a bit more. It's good news.
Well, it is good news.
But you don't care, do you? It's not Villa.
Who?
It's because it's not affecting Villa.
I care, but I hope he'll play. But
Dean Smith said it's not about just getting the call up. He's got to make sure he gets caps now, and I agree with that.
Exactly.
It's still something we should look back and be very proud of, and he should be very proud of.
Listen, Tyrone Mings has had a great 12 months, and I think you're exactly right that Villa has done a huge amount for him in return. You know, it's a beautiful relationship that's actually worked well for both parties, which is brilliant. What the loan system kind of should be.
I think he'll get in the Euro squad. Just because he's left-footed, I think that gives him a massive advantage for how Southgate likes to play.
He's now got an opportunity to impress Southgate with his work rate, with his effort in training, with his leadership. Like the way he went into the Villa squad straight away and became a leader in that.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around, says what he thinks.
And there's every chance that he could do that. I know England is more senior people, but
he's still barking the orders.
I would not doubt that for 1 second.
Really? There's not... I look at that England squad and there's some very good young players. What Southgate's done has been excellent. Is there a massive leader in there? Harry Kane's the captain, but I wouldn't say he's a massive leader.
I imagine Maguire's a leader.
Yeah, he is, but he's not wearing the armband, is he? Henderson?
Pickford?
Pickford just never shuts up.
Yeah.
Although England goalkeepers seem to have a syndrome. Joe Hart never used to shut up, and then he'd go and get beat by a silly Gareth Bale free kick in the last Euros. Henderson's the vice-captain. He's not exactly a leader of men like barking the orders. There's very few players in the England squad that I would say are of the mould of Mings.
Yeah.
I think Southgate will like him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
it's very similar to when Southgate joined Villa and came from nowhere and got into the England squad. Hopefully Mings isn't missing penalties in the Euros.
Hopefully Mings isn't off to Middlesbrough anytime soon.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I'd like to see him play, and Mings won't be happy just being in the squad. Obviously it's great and he gets some free Nike swag. He'll be happy with that.
I think he's probably all right for getting himself here, to be fair.
But he's there to play football. Otherwise, he'd be asking himself, "What am I doing here?" He wants the next step.
Hopefully, he gets some football, but it's quite difficult in the qualifiers because you're not making wholesale changes, are you? In a friendly, you'd say he's definitely going to get a cap because he'll get a chance at some point because they'll make wholesale changes.
Do you think games against Kosovo are like friendlies though? Do you take some experimental risks?
They can be, but I suppose by the fact he hasn't called up Kyle Walker. And he wants to look at the other, although now Basaka's withdrawn, he wants to look at Trent. Trent probably should be the starting right back for me.
Yeah.
The way Southgate wants to play, he's a tremendous player, Trent Alexander-Arnold, so I think he should be playing anyway. But he kind of insinuated, didn't he, that I want to look at a few different things, so maybe he will. Yeah. But I always think managers are also mindful of respecting that it's a competitive game and they don't want to make too many changes in case it goes wrong, and then people will say, "Oh, it was a competitive game, and he messed around with the team and things like that." So it's a difficult balancing that for Southgate, but hopefully he'll get on at some point.
I think he's got more of a chance against Kosovo than he would against Bulgaria. Bulgaria, decent outfit, and it'd be interesting. Right,
got no chance playing against San Marino though.
Do you not reckon? Not this time.
No chance. No.
Unless he defects to go to Scotland, yeah.
Don't think he's going to go there. Unless McGinn's very persuasive.
Oh, that James Chester incident all over again. Rob Henry, what is your verdict on the first 10% of the season?
I'm quite scared when he said it was the first 10%.
Yes, so did I.
Is that good math? Is that right?
Well,
I didn't go through and work it out.
4 games. How many games are there in total? 38. So 40 would be 10%.
It's not far off, is it?
So it's more. Just more, isn't it?
Yeah. Scary. Thanks, Rob.
So Rob says, 1, we've been unlucky. 2, we need a few tweaks and a bit of time to get things right. 3, we always knew it was going to be tough. 4, regret not getting another striker. And 5, there are fundamental problems that are a real concern.
We needed a striker that can play up front on his own and play wide. That's what we needed, in my opinion. I know Codger can do that, but I'm not sure on him as a Premier League player, if I'm being honest. I don't think he went anywhere in the end. It was very ambitious, but I'd have liked the former Celtic striker that's at Lyon, or was at Lyon. If he's moved, you'll let me know in the comments, Dembele, because he can do both.
How old is he?
He's young, 24, I would say. He'd have been a good signing. Someone like that who could do both, I think, would have been benefited this squad massively.
Right.
We do need a striker.
Yeah.
There's no other way of looking at it. We do need one.
I mean, I agree.
Not me writing Wesley off. But you cannot rely on one man.
We have been unlucky, but there does need to be some sort of change, because at the moment Wesley is isolated. He's cutting an isolated figure up there.
And he strikes me as someone that might get frustrated.
Oh, for sure.
And might do something silly and get sent off in a game.
We had a question in the comments saying, what do you think of Tammy Abraham? On the one hand, happy that he's scoring, but 2, frustrated that he's not at Villa anymore.
Those players that's got us up will forever be heroes to me. Forever be heroes. So Tammy Abraham will forever be a hero to me, and I wish him every success in his career, and it's great to see him banging in the goals for Chelsea. He's added something different to his game, hasn't he? Because all his goals for Villa were in the penalty area. Suddenly now, he's blasting them in from long range the last couple of games.
Oh yeah, the last
as well.
I mean, you saw that poacher's instinct as well, didn't you? In the last game, you need someone that's going to grab those goals. That's something. Obviously, Villa aren't getting that close to the penalty area
because he does just you swing a ball in the box and he does just seem to create a goal. Abraham with his movement,
and he's good in the air as well. He created his first goal on the weekend by heading it towards goal.
Fair play to him, though. Fair play. He believed in himself and said, "I'm going to have a crack at Chelsea." I got to be honest. When he said that, I thought, "Yeah, all right, nice one."
Yeah,
but
I mean,
fair play to him.
Things have kind of worked out for him, haven't they? A little bit in the transfer ban means they can't bring someone in. Frank Lampard coming in.
Yeah, you need some stuff like that in your career. You need things to be on your side and help you out. And that's what I'm saying for Mount. Mount's done very well. And I wasn't sure that he could just come in and be immediately a Premier League player. And he scored a couple of goals as well, hasn't he? Mason Mount and looked lively. Got himself in the England squad.
Yeah.
Fair play to Tammer. I'm a bit disappointed for Transaber. I don't think we've missed him per se, because I think Engels has been very good.
Yeah.
But just wasting a while on the Man U bench. How much football is he realistically going to get?
Yeah, it's frustrating now.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Wayne Brown heard someone on the radio say Spurs Champions League final game was the biggest game in their history. So on that theme, what's Villa's biggest game in our history? Playoff final, European Cup. What are your thoughts?
Probably the European Cup, isn't it?
So it has to be, doesn't it?
If it is for Spurs, it is for us.
Yeah. That's better.
Well, yeah, because we're good, and I wish I'd been around at that time. I'd give anything to have been there.
Your dad missed it, didn't he?
Yeah, he missed it, had to work. Poor. Very well. Let's just say get well soon to my dad.
Oh, yeah.
So he's back. He's actually a risk to go to Villa Park for the next couple of games, I would say, because they've had to cancel their holiday. They were going to Canada and America for 2 weeks. And they're not going.
They've cancelled it?
They've had to. The doctor says he can't travel.
Really?
Really done his back in, yeah.
Get better soon.
So I said to him, beginning of the end, Dave.
Oh, no.
It really is. He knew what I meant by it.
Did he?
I also said, I went on another podcast. If you get a chance to listen to it, you can if you want. James Alcott's Great Touch for a Big Lad podcast. It's a general football podcast I went on last week.
Not going to bother.
Was invited on. We were talking about the Berry situation and that. And I've spoken to my dad about this since, so he's okay with me saying it. I said, I'd be as upset if Villa died than if my dad died. I'd be equally as upset.
Wow.
That's how much Villa means to me.
That's a really interesting and morbid.
No, but he understood. He said he knew what I meant, knew what he meant.
Like it's a lighter part of your family.
Yeah, Villa is a massive part of my life. So I would be equally as upset. It does sound harsh when I put it like that. He knew what I meant.
But yeah, I'm sure lots of people do, yeah.
I went on and said that, and I spoke to him about it, and he was fine with it.
There's a rumour that Bury might be allowed back into League 2 next year, I saw.
So annoying for Bury. They get themselves into League 1 and then it just nightmare.
Yeah.
So it should be a happy time and it turns into a disaster.
But then Bolton took over, didn't they, before, again, the day after we did the podcast last week.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, they've signed 9 players yesterday as well, Bolton.
Ridiculous. But,
scattergun.
I mean, they're going to go down, aren't they?
Whoa.
Well, they're like minus 11 points, aren't they?
You never know. They might put it back. You just never know.
Good luck to Bolton.
Let's hope they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we call it a day?
Yeah, I'm still... It's been drained from the Kevin Friend abuse.
Yeah, rubbish. A rubbish week. Frustrating. I think everybody feels the same. It feels a bit like this podcast has just been a rant.
That's what people would have wanted. And it was the only thing it was ever going to be.
It's tough, isn't it? You know, like we try and come on here and be positive, and the fans...
I'm still positive about Villa.
The players clap the fans, and that was all good at the end of the game. Like there seemed to be... That harmony is still there, which is great. But just a rubbish end to a fairly rubbish game. And we're going to the international break now.
Yes, we had 2 positive games, the League Cup and the Everton game. Yeah. We were all feeling quite good again, weren't we? And then we get robbed of joy by Kevin Friend. The draw would have carried on that little bit of momentum, wouldn't it? Yeah. A late goal as well. You were always buzzing after that.
I was speaking to somebody at half time, and they were rightly saying we were playing poorly, and I was convinced. I felt like this was a game where we were going to be under the cosh, and then we were going to nick it, and it kind of happened. I
never felt we were going to be under the cosh at any point.
Well, we were under the cosh.
No, but I never felt like we were going to be in the lead up to the game.
No, but this was in the game as I was watching.
It still wasn't like Palace were all over us in the second half.
That was my kind of point. It was like, it felt like we could get away with a few chances here and then nick a goal, win it, and then obviously they score, and then we still try and nick it.
Managed to keep 11 men on the field. That's completely changed the game as well. Getting a sending off as well is no good.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about... Well, we have. Trezeguet deserved that, I think.
Yeah, it's no good for us doing things like that. It's already going to be a battle. We can't afford to be playing with 10 men for the majority of the second half.
There you go then. Next week is the international break. I will not be here. I'm away with work, but you will be joined in the booth by Dolan, I think.
Presume so. I need to speak to him. Hopefully he can do it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'll leave that with you.
I'll speak to him.
Yeah.
I'll just go over our monthly predictions next week. I did remember, but I thought let's do it next week because it's an international break. There's not as much to talk about.
My mum texted me. She said I got them all wrong. I thought I got the Spurs one right.
I thought you'd got them all right.
Oh, no. I definitely got Palace wrong. I don't know.
I mean, I had us to lose Palace. I remember that because I knew me and Dolan were going together. Me and Dolan, again, can't buy a win when we go to a game together. Can't even buy a draw. I know we did draw 0-0 with Reading, actually, but
between the lines,
we've got an awful record when me and him go to a game together.
Tough.
We've probably been at games the Villa have won, both at the same time, but when we go together, the stars do not align.
Tough.
Yeah, it's bad.
Time to stop going, mate. That's it. That's the only thing. Right, if you have enjoyed this podcast,
No way.
then you're a better man than me. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all those kind of things. And we'll be back next week, or you will be.
Yeah, you won't be. Where are you going again?
Going to Budapest.
Oh, nice.
For work.
Yeah, business, not pleasure.
Yes, very, very businessy. Right, have a good week. Let's move on.
I can't.
We have to.
I can't.
It's international break. Get over it.
No.
Watch the England game. Get back for West Ham. We need a result against West Ham.
That.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Monday Night Football.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Come on.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.